you off the Lord here, Cold World. I'm over here kicking with my main man, Jay Wiggs. What's up, baby? What's going on?
What's good, Brody?
Can't call it. I'm welcoming everybody. We are welcoming everybody here to another episode of Brody Sports Talk, BST16 or Bestie 16 for short. We got a great show for you guys. Before we get started, as usual, we want to thank you all for your support. Our platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are skyrocketing, okay? The market might be going down, but our numbers are going up, okay? The Brodies are trending, okay? And for all the right reasons. And we're going to get to it soon. But without further ado, let's just kick it off here because we got a lot to go over, in a condensed fashion here. So if you're, again, been living under a rock here, free agency frenzy has begun, right, Wiggs? Like, it officially starts on Wednesday. If they paid attention to your important dates a few weeks ago, if you haven't checked that out, because it's going to be pertinent to understand what's going to be happening over these next few weeks here. Now, free agent frenzy has begun today, and there's a lot of people who have new destinations, and there's a lot of people who are calling their current destinations home. So let's go ahead and kick it off here, Wiggs. We got a lot of free agency reporting that's been going on all freaking day, man. It's been crazy. So, like, which ones are you highlighting here on your list?
Well, cool. The way you started the show off smiling, you got a fresh haircut. I'm at smiling. I know you.
Yo, I cut my hair. For those who don't know me like that, I grow my hair in the wintertime. Kind of like just a spiritual journey, if you will, just to prepare for the next season that's coming. And I cut my hair off when the springtime comes to just represent a new version of me. So, cut my hair today. This weekend, feel like a new man. And it's a new season.
Listen, bro, the way you got on the podcast smiling, I'm like, Cole is happy for the Commanders, man. So I know we're gonna get to the Commanders, but look, this is a Commanders show. This is a DC show. Let's start it off with some of the Commanders moves. The biggest move of today is Laramie Tunsil coming to the Commanders in a trade. The Commanders gave up a second round next year, a third round this year, a fourth round next year, and a seventh round this year to get Laramie Tunsil and a fourth round pick this year in return. And Adam Peters we trust. We talked about one of the biggest positions of need being the tackle position. I think you specifically said, I said I was fine with Brandon Coleman going into next season. You said we needed to get a left tackle, and we got one. Just to talk about the Commanders for a second, Cole, we're going to get there later, but what do you think about the Laramie Tunsil, the Deebo Samuel trades?
So, before Laramie Tunsil, I don't know the contract situation yet with them, but up until this
point,
he
did resign. He did resign. I want to say it's over $100 million, but I'll have to double check. Yeah,
we got to look. I want to look at the years and the guarantee, because I know they were going to make a big splash in free agency because we have the cap space. But what people don't understand is it's not just about the cap space per se. It's about the cash on hand that you have to go against the cap hit, if you will, if that makes sense. So like, you got money that's spread over a certain amount of time, yes, but the amount of cash that you have on hand to spend, that really determines how much of a splash you make going into the next year. So having said that, with the what was his name? Lattimore. With Lattimore and Deebo, we already spent a lot of cash. And we also spent a lot of draft capital. What Adam Peters is doing now, he's kind of doing what's similar to what the Rams did a few years ago, which is basically somewhat F them picks. Reason being is because we got Jaden Daniels on his rookie contract. Okay, we do not have to worry about the quarterback. That's one pick in the draft we never have to worry about again. Well, at least for hopefully the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
From there, right, we have used our draft capital to land arguably one of the best tackles, if not top 5, I would say arguably top 2 in the league, left tackles in the league. And like I mentioned with Coleman, now he can play his natural position, which is the guard. I don't know if he's going to do left or right. They may try him at right tackle. I don't know. But the bottom line is the bookend is now sealed, baby. And on top of that, he is a young vet. You know what I'm saying? which
Mm-hmm.
means that he is already experienced. He's not going to have those rookie mistakes, which is going to cause Jaden to get sacked and all that good stuff. No, ain't no learning on the job here, baby. This dude is already running on, on full steam. So I like what Adam Peters is doing. I am a little concerned about the amount of draft picks that we have remaining. But most importantly, we have our first round and second round picks still remaining, which is the most
That's
important
really
because we
good.
can still get the the cream of the crop there, if you will. But
Mm-hmm.
now that we've lost our third and fourth, right? Third and
Right.
fourth, which is those are pertinent rounds. I think with the fourth rounder that we got back, I think Adam Peters may use that to kind of like trade back, or he may use the second rounder to trade back. I mean, you never know. Think about it like this: our pick is 29, right? So a low first round is the same as a high second round. So he may use that and trade back. It just
Very
depends on how
similar
the
to what
free
we
agency
did.
waters are going to settle.
Very similar to what we did last year. I believe it was the second rounder that we traded back on
Mm-hmm.
and got two extra picks in the third round. Two great picks, Johnny Newton and Mike Simmerstill. So,
Yep.
like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead, but I saw you smiling. I'm like, I know Cole is thinking about the Commanders. Let's get some of the trades out the way. And now
Okay.
let's get into free agency. So some of the big signings in free agency, let's talk about some of the ones that stayed with the teams that they were at, and then we'll get into some of the free agents that moved to new teams. So Aaron Jones is staying with the Vikings for 2 years, 20 million.
I like
Chris
that.
Godwin is staying with the Buccaneers for 3 years, 66 million. Khalil
Yeah.
Mack, oh man, we really wanted Khalil. He's
Yeah.
staying
I
with
thought
the
we were going to land
Chargers.
him too.
That's a big one that I thought even if it was a 1 year for 18, I wouldn't be mad at that. Like it's similar to what we're doing with Bobby Wagner. If we can get Khalil Mack for 18 mil for 1 year, I would have been all down for it.
Yeah.
That's a big one we missed out on. But still some big names at defensive end potentially out there. We got Hassan Reddick. Oh, I'm sorry, he's changing teams. And the last one I wanted to mention that's staying on their team is that J.C. Horn. He's another name. He's a Panthers defensive back that we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about last year potentially getting. He's staying with the Panthers for 4 years, 100 million.
I
Uh,
respect that.
yeah,
I
any
respect
of
that.
those names stand out or anything that stands out? Like, man, you really wanted that player.
The biggest one for me, pause, is Chris Godwin.
Mm.
He left a lot of money on the table. Like he could
Getting
have
hurt
gone
or not
somewhere else
leaving.
and got way more. He got
Now, is
3
that a
years,
story you heard
66
about,
million.
or what's that? What's that news, Co?
Chris Godwin, so he re-signed with Tampa Bay,
Hmm.
3 years, 66 million. And I think like 40 some odd million or something like that is like guaranteed.
Okay.
So he could have got a lot more if he tested the market. Because I mean, we
Okay.
need a legit number two. And
Okay.
Chris Godwin actually is a number one on some teams. So he could have went out there and tested the market. I think he could have got a lot more.
Even
But
coming
it's,
off injury.
even coming off an injury,
Okay.
because I mean, there's not too many people out here that want DeAndre Hopkins or Deontay Johnson or, all due respect, Keenan Allen, or Brandon Cooks. Like, I mean, no disrespect, but it's like their time has come to
Yeah.
start thinking of podcasts,
The, hey,
or being an
for
analyst or
real.
something, because
Real
these
talk.
guys may not get picked up. Real talk. So, De'Ami Brown, this guy, now he signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1 year, $10 million. Now I'm not a millionaire, so I can't sit here and tell a man don't take $10 million,
Hmm.
especially if the person you were working with is not offering you $10 million.
Hmm.
I get that. I get that. But at the same time, if you if you feel like you're worth more than what you actually are, that can really distort like your ego can distort your value in some
Now,
cases.
hold on,
It's
Co.
kind of,
I gotta cut you off because your favorite rapper is Jay Z. And what does Jay Z say? I'd rather be overpaid than underrated. So, and I know
hey,
you love Jay Z. So,
I
are you
know.
about to Are you about to say something that you don't really believe, or what are you about to say?
So I believe he's worth whatever he gets paid for. Like if they paid him 20 million, I'm like, great. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I
Like
mean. If you're gonna be overpaid, shoot.
take the money. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I said most likely he wasn't going to get re-signed because he was probably
you
going to
did
get
call that.
offered more. So I
Yep.
get that. But what I wanted to say was his way out. I don't like his way out. This weekend, him and Dante Fowler were on Twitter voicing their opinion about how they didn't get re-signed. And I'm like, okay, this is a business. And I understand the brotherhood that y'all had in the amazing season. You thought everybody was going to come back. But I mean, let's be honest here, man. Like everybody wasn't going to come back.
Right.
Even if those two did get re-signed, somebody else probably wasn't going to come back. So
Right.
like they're on Twitter just bitching and moaning. And I'm like, dude, you didn't even give niggas excuse me, you didn't even give Bama's a chance you didn't even give Bama's a chance to give you an
Hey.
offer. And you over
Right.
here with the Twitter fingers.
Oh man.
So, but I'm like, you got your money. I hope you're happy, but you're going to Jacksonville.
Bro, you're leaving Jaden Daniels for Trevor Lawrence.
You're going to Duval, home of the B word.
Hey, the
The
original B
original B
word.
word.
So yeah, no, that's definitely an interesting. And to stay on Commanders that are leaving, I think you called this one as well, or maybe not. Tell me what you think about this one. Jeremy Chin to the Raiders for I want to say 2 years, 16 million, either
I'm
two
a
or
little
3 years.
shocked. I'm a little
Okay.
shocked because as much help that we need on defense, you don't let the best players go. Now I get it. Dante Fowler, he showed ass, right? He had 10 and a half sacks. He did very well. I mean, considering his career, how things turned out with injuries and stuff off the
He was
field
a
and
he
everything
was
like
a
that.
top three pick. He was a number 3 pick in the
Yeah,
draft.
so
So
I'm glad he had a renaissance season, but it's like I think he took it personally. I think he really thought he was going to be one of those dudes that was going to get re-signed, and he didn't. But I'm like, dude, didn't you say you wanted to test free agency? I mean, you signed a 1 year
mm,
deal, so you're
mm,
getting more money. I hope you're happy, but it's like these dudes should know by now. If you take more money, odds are you're going to a bad team. You
right,
know, unless you get traded, you might be going to a team that's either rebuilding or a better team that's trying to improve, i.e., us or the Bears. You know what I'm
right,
saying? But like,
right.
if you say I'm going to test free agency and someone pays you more money or overpays you more money, odds are you're going to go to a bad team or you're going to go to a team and get exposed because you were a big fish in a little pond. Now you stomping with the big dogs. I wish them well, but De'Ami Brown and Arizona with the little engine that could. I don't know, man. I don't
Wait,
know.
wait. No, Diami is in.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Diami's
With who's his face? Trevor.
with Trevor Lawrence. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And
Who
then
who
yeah,
went to Arizona?
I know who you're talking about. It was a better. Oh, Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is in Arizona. Who else
Yeah.
went to Arizona? I have to look at my list, but yeah. So we got Jeremy Chin going to the Raiders, De'Ami Brown going to the Jaguars. Um, Let me give you some of the big names that moved around today. We have Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks,
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields to the Jets, Josh Sweat to the Cardinals, Hassan Reddick, who didn't even play last year, going to Tampa Bay,
I like that.
Devontae Adams with the Rams,
I like that too.
Charvarius Ward. I really wanted Charvarius Ward.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that one.
Definitely disappointed in that one. Going to the Colts. Grady Jarrett going to the Bears. And who else? Oh, another big one. DK Metcalf on the trade to the Steelers. That was pretty big news early in the weekend. That's very interesting because
Very.
at the moment the Steelers don't have a quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
They don't.
So I mean, it's good to get the receivers. It's good to fill out the roster, but let's
Who's
get the
going to them?
quarterback squared away.
They may bring back Russell Wilson. That's still in play.
It is, especially
That's
because
still in
Justin
play.
Fields is gone now. I like that Justin Fields left. Like you played me for the first 8 games and then sat me for the rest of the season. I'm not a fan of that. So I like that Justin Fields said, let me try somewhere else. Sam Darnold got exactly what we thought, about 3 years. Only 60 million guaranteed. So that's basically 30 million. And he went from 40, 45 million to 30, 33 million just with those two bad losses at the end of the year.
He lost
I
$40
think
million. Basically,
basically
it's a 3 year, $100 million contract. Don't get me wrong. Again, 60 million
only 60
guaranteed.
million guaranteed. Right.
It's pretty damn good. But
Right.
it's just,
For
bro.
quarterbacks, we know quarterbacks can get more than that easily. So
Went from 30 or 40 a year to 20 a year. And
yeah,
didn't we say that? Didn't we say he was going to go
we
to
called
about
it.
20 some odd million a year?
Called it.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields. I'm curious on who the offensive coordinator is going to be because that's going to be important. Like
Okay.
he needs someone that's going to have one. They're going to have to run the ball, period. Because he's a running quarterback right now. He was the last quarterback to have 1,000 yards outside of Lamar. People forget that. So, but he's not a developed pocket passer yet. So unless he's got Kyle Shanahan or some other quarterback guru, they're going to have who was the last offensive coordinator for the Ravens? You remember him?
Todd Monken.
I believe so.
It
I
might
believe it was
be.
Todd Monken. No,
Okay.
I think Todd Monken is the OC now.
Okay. He might be there now. Okay.
Um, but so, yeah,
Uh.
somebody like Todd Monken, but like someone
Okay.
that can, help him transition into more of a drop back quarterback to kind of like expand the
Mm,
capacity of his skill set. But
okay.
they don't have any like issues really outside of their offensive line, which I think they'll bulk up during the draft, maybe do some trades. But it's their defense, man. It was their defense that sucked last year that caused all their losses. But I like the trade, or the signing rather. Um, Aaron Jones, I like that. Javonte Williams to Dallas.
Yeah, that was a big
That's a,
one. Kind of
that's
late.
pretty
That
solid.
came. That came just before we got on air, basically. I do have a couple of those that I wrote down late. Javonte Williams, Dre Greenlaw to the Broncos, and Darius Slay to the Steelers as well. Those
Yeah,
kind of came down late on the wire.
Slayton
Any
went to the
any any
Giants.
teams that you feel like any teams you feel like set themselves up for a Super Bowl outside of us, Co? Like
Uh,
do the Seahawks become contenders with Sam
I,
Darnold over Geno Smith?
I think they made a mistake
Letting Geno
because
go.
yeah, because here's the
Mm.
thing: Sam Darnold has left Justin Jefferson and has no
And
disrespect,
Jordan
but is
Addison.
going to Smith and Jigma. No disrespect to him, he's a
No
budding
DK Metcalf. Right.
no D or Tyler Lockett.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know. I think they may get a setback. Ironically enough, I think there might be a little bit of a surge for the Raiders because your boy Gino is going to a familiar territory, and they're a
Hmm.
defensive team anyway, and they got Brock Bowers. They just need one or two more pieces. Free agency hasn't technically started, and we still got the draft. So you never know. But
Okay.
I like the Rams move. They dropped Cooper Cup
Cooper Cup.
and picked up Devontae Adams. I like that move. The issue is Devontae Adams going to be a diva? Like if he going to be a problem in the locker room if he's not getting the
Yeah.
ball, because I think Puka is now the number one.
Yeah, I think Puka is definitely the number one. And it's funny you said that about is he going to be a problem in the locker room? Because apparently him and Puka are going to have to fight over the number 17.
See,
Devontae's worn that number his
yeah,
entire
yeah, ain't nobody
career.
got time for that shit, bro.
So apparently that's something that now they're gonna have to think about going into next season. Um, who I like, Co? I mentioned Charvarius Ward going to the Colts, as well as Cam Bynum going to the Colts. I really like what the Colts did so far, getting two DBs.
Yeah,
I think their offense is already in a really good place. Jonathan Taylor, I know, had an up and down year, had a little bit of an injury. But he finished the season really strong,
Yeah, he did.
and
Got me
and
a
I think
chip.
it yeah. Hey, he did, man. Listen, I wanted Jonathan Taylor. I wanted that trade, man. Early in the year, I was like, I don't think I offered it, but I was like, if I can take Jonathan Taylor from Co, by the time the playoffs come around, he's gonna be doing his thing. And man, he had a good end of the year. So I kind of like what the Colts did. Now, contenders, I need to see them pick up a quarterback. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about who's remaining in free agency yet, but
Yeah, we
I
can
would
go
like
over
to
that.
see them. Okay, so
We
I'll
can go
just
over that.
transition right now. Speaking of the Colts, I would like to see them go after Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. We saw what what's my guy that was there last year from the Ravens' old quarterback that took over for Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco.
Joe
We
Flacco,
saw what Joe Flacco was able to do with the Colts at quarterback. I
top
think
five free
Aaron
agent.
Rodgers. Yep. So I think Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson can come in and kind of make that situation work. And I think the Colts will be in really, really good shape. So I told you about those two quarterbacks that are remaining in free agency. We also have Daniel Jones and Jameis Winston for quarterbacks. We have Joey Bosa, Cam Robinson, the tackle. Cooper Cup is now released, so he's a free agent. Zadarius Smith, Von Miller, two other defensive ends, free agents. Byron Murphy, the DB, Stephon Diggs, the receiver, Chase Young, Amari Cooper, just a couple other names that are still remaining. Any of those names stand out? I know we're still thinking about Trey Hendrickson, maybe Evan Ingram. They aren't free agents, but they are
I think
potential
Ingram
trade
got
targets.
signed already, didn't he?
Did Ingram get released and signed?
No, I think he just got released. I don't think he got signed yet.
Okay. Yeah, I know Evan Ingram was kind of like they were still holding on to him, trying to see if they could get some value for him, but he may have got released late. And like I said, Trey Hendrickson is still in the trading block.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest name as far as free agency or, you know, just all this goes. If he gets moved, that'll be definitely a big move. Any of those names stand out to you, Co?
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, out of what's left, and Joe Flacco, of course, those are going to be like your best remaining players available, if you will. But in terms of starters, I only see two, which is Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. I don't think Jameis Winston is going to get a starting job.
Mm.
But one particular, well, two particular free agency quarterbacks that I see that may, I don't know, may make a splash depending on if they get lucky. Jacoby Brissett and Marcus Mariota. Now, Marcus
Mm-hmm.
Mariota kind of had, I mean, he had a really good backup season. You know, now I don't know if people want to take a chance on him and give him another starting opportunity. Same thing with Jacoby
I don't
Brissett,
see
but
it.
like, I mean, people like, I mean, teams like the Colts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you need a team that needs a bridge quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And like the Colts right now, Anthony Richardson, I like the potential, but if he starts off slow again next year and they bench him one more time, just move on. Like,
I think so.
you know what I'm saying? Like
I
you
I
can't
think the
keep benching
GM
this dude every year and keep giving him the captain designation.
I think the GM did come out and say that it's going to be an open competition in camp this year for Anthony Richardson. These are the first comments that he's made that are kind of moving off of him just saying we have full confidence in Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
And it's smart. We saw what Joe Flacco did in that offense. The team looked much better. The offense looked much better. So it wouldn't make sense to keep committing to a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, who still has some stuff to prove. Like you said, there's still a lot of potential there. But I like Justin Fields and what he brings to a team a little bit more than Anthony Richardson at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let us know what you think about the free agency frenzy, Brodies. You need to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're approaching 500,000 views. We're getting close. We are definitely getting close. So we'll do a tally. You know, I say in about another, by the end of the month, we should be there. We should be there by then. But kind of transitioning from free agency. uh, into the skins news, if you will, and we're kind of in a window, like we've been saying these past couple of weeks, right? We're in our first Super Bowl window. We can legitimately say that. We have a quarterback that's considered the best in the conference, not just the division, but in the conference. We have some skilled players on offense. We just locked up one of the best offensive tackles in the league, basically almost putting our offensive line, if we can get to that top 10-ish type ranking, the sky's the limit, right? And then we're going to also upgrade and recalibrate on defense. So, are the skins building, or the Commanders rather, are they building a Super Bowl roster? With landing Larry Tunsil, where does this put not just the team, but the offense right now, Wiggs?
So great question. I mean, they were very, very close last year. You could see once they faced the Eagles that the Eagles were a better team, uh, a better built roster. I think the Eagles might be the best roster in the league right now, as it stands. They've lost a couple pieces. We mentioned Josh Sweat leaving, going to the Cardinals. Um, Darius Slay leaving, going to the Steelers. So they've lost a couple pieces. We'll see how they rebound. But the Commanders are building something, and they're building from the front line. So we mentioned Larry Tunsil coming over in the trade. They also got Javon Kinlaw from the Jets, for 3 years, $45 million, after letting Jonathan Allen go. So I love that they didn't go down in that position. Like, I love that they kind of upgraded. Basically, they didn't downgrade that position. They got a guy that's really good at stopping the run. I think that was our biggest kind of downfall at the defensive tackle position last year, was we weren't stopping the run. We were really good. Our defensive tackles were fast, but sometimes you need a defensive tackle to just be big and just stay there and take up the holes in the pocket, which is something we didn't do a good job of last year. So Javon Kinlaw is one of the best defensive tackle run stoppers in the game. So that's something we can look forward to this year.
Nice.
Laremy Tunsil comes over. He's one of the top graded tackles according to PFF. I was looking at some comments under the trade. One of the comments that I really liked, it was somebody who was a Texans fan. Mm-hmm. They said the one thing about Tunsil, he gets a lot of holding calls. So I would like to see how we do with that with Tunsil in this year. Like you said, he's a veteran, so I think that's something he can work out. That could be something that, sometimes you see officials, I don't want to say pick on players, but sometimes you see officials come into games and they'll basically make a call that they've seen a player get away with. So they're like, this time we're going to call you on every hold that we see. That might have been a little bit of what was going on with Laremy Tunsil. Like I said, we'll see how he possibly. Some of the re-signings, we got Bobby Wagner back. I really
one thing I want to mention about the holding calls that people don't understand as well, that people aren't like noticing, is when the quarterback holds onto the ball longer than he should on the timing routes, the linemen end up holding a lot more, because if you take a look at the film, your boy CJ Stroud, he was in a regression year, so he was holding the ball a lot longer than he normally would. Jaden is quick fire. You ain't gotta worry about that with 5. You ain't gotta worry about a holding penalty with 5.
Let's go.
He's going through his reads. He's going through his progressions. Go on, Wiz.
That's absolutely true. And you can just look at our offensive line last season. Coming into the season, people would say they were a bottom 10, and I think they finished the season at least in the top 15, doing much better than anybody expected. And a lot of that goes to Jaden, his pre-snap, post-snap analysis, his ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly. I think Laremy Tunsil will fit in really well. I really was looking at Ronnie Stanley. I know we both talked about him last week as potential, but I'm happy with Laremy Tunsil. And again, to get on the draft capital that we gave up, I don't think it was that bad for what we got back. You know, to
No,
get a
no.
top tackle, and we didn't have to give up a round one draft pick. I think that's really really good as far as compensation goes. Um, a couple of the players we're maintaining. Zach Ertz is coming back. Tress Way, one of our number one players, is coming back. John Bates, the
I like
other
that.
run block and tight end, is coming back. So again, we're building a team the right way, up front first, and we'll go out from there. So are we a Super Bowl roster? The only team I have us the only team I think that's better than us right now would be the Eagles, roster wise. They just have a lot of young talent. They have a lot of talent that's locked in. Um, but we saw where we got to last year with this roster. So are we a Super Bowl contender? Absolutely. As long as we have
Yeah.
JD5 at the back at the helm, we're absolutely a Super Bowl contender. And yeah, no, I'm excited. What do you think of?
Super Bowl contender. I mean, I would definitely say yes. I mean, considering the fact that we were last year. Now, each year is going to be different. We know that. God forbid any injuries or tougher schedule. We have a tougher schedule now. It just depends on how the dice fall really. But one thing's for certain, we are going to be a playoff favorite. Contending favorite, like anywhere between 7 to the number 2 seed. You just never
Mm-hmm.
know. But I think in order for us to be a Super Bowl roster, we gotta bulk up on defense, the defensive line and the offensive line. That's where it starts, man. Like when I was coaching football, I told my boys, look, it starts and the games are won
In
and
the
lost in the
trenches.
trenches.
In the
In the
trenches.
trenches.
Yep.
That's where it starts. You know what I'm saying? So right now we have a problem with the run defense. And watch how the football gods probably going to play some jokes where it'll be like, okay, we bulk up on the run defense. Now our pass defense is some trash. But
Mm.
I think honestly, if we can stop the run and make them one dimensional, then that we don't need to be the Eagles defense to win. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to be like in that 15 to that 15 range, top 15 range,
Top
maybe
50.
even top 20. You know what I'm saying? We were damn near dead last year, so and we got to the
Yeah.
NFC title game. So if we can get to 20, ranked 20 or above, I mean, hey man, the sky's the limit.
Okay. Any of the free agents stick out to you? Like I mentioned, the Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner coming back, Zach Ertz, or are you just thinking defense now? Like you're happy to see the offense coming back,
Yeah,
but
I
you
like
still need to
how he
see.
took care of the offense first. That means that their
Okay.
focal point is, look, Jade is the franchise quarterback. Let's protect him first. Now he's taken care of. He's got an extra weapon and he's got some protection, and we'll go from there. But right now, like I love that pickup on defense because he's going to replace John Allen. Um, Honestly, I mean the way they paid him, they look at him as a plug and play. He's going to start.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not paying a guy that type of money and have him, sitting on the bench. So he's replacing John Allen on the starting lineup. So we'll see how free agency goes from there. I think what Adam Peters is going to do now is see what he can do in the secondary with free agency because we still got some cornerbacks. We'll pick up where we left off on our top free agency list next week. We can do cornerbacks or we can do wide receivers just to round off the offense. But the point is, there's people out there that can still help bulk up the defense. We have no choice. We lost 10. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Got to
if
replace that.
we got to replace him, and we need another corner. So yeah, linebacker wise, we depth because Bobby Wagner's going to be a year older. I think he's going to
Right.
be. I think this year you're going to see him transition into a closer role, meaning that he's going to start and then he's going to
Get
maybe
subbed
sit
in and
out a
out a
little
little bit
bit
more.
between
Okay.
the second and third quarter, and then I'd say right around that 10-minute mark on the fourth quarter, he'll come in and start to close things out, unless he is a liability in the passing game or something like that. But I can see that happening if we get another linebacker.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I just saw something about Jordan McGee, the linebacker that was injured a lot for us last year. Just kind of taking a step up this year, next year, upcoming. He was a rookie. Like I said, didn't get as much playing time as he would have liked due to injury. So I would really like to see Jordan McGee do his thing. Frankie Louvu is going to be coming back for another year. We saw the success that he had. Um, what part of the team, I guess, kind of stands out? I know you mentioned the run defense. Is on offense? Is there any position that you're still looking to upgrade in free agency as far as the offense is concerned?
Offensive line. E-
So
e-
keep going.
Either that, because it's like, what are you planning to do at running back? You brought back Rodriguez. You
Yeah,
know, we
I would say
we
it's in the draft more than free agency
Yeah.
for running
So
back.
I would say get as many young vets that you can. So you can have it'll still be considered a young team, but they will be experienced, kind of like the Boston Celtics. You know, everybody's in their late 20s. So they're still
Right.
in their prime. They still got time left, and they're experienced enough to go up against anyone, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing if they can find, even if it's by
Another
committee, like
guard or so.
another guard or maybe someone at right tackle. Because I mean, I don't want Cosme to rush back. He's a
Yeah.
big dude. You can't mess around with no ACL tear. So I give him the whole year off if need be by just having depth at the O line, and they have to improve their run blocking because our run offense was deplorable. They don't
Dang.
like Jaden masked a lot of that shit, but you
Yeah.
can't have your quarterback leading the team in rushing. So they need to. The only way they're going to be able to get better at running is they need to bulk up on the offensive line and improve the run blocking. Don't worry about pass blocking. Jaden got that camp handle.
I think you're absolutely right, Co. I would love to see for the rest of free agency, we just keep bulking up the front seven on both sides. If it's defense, defensive line and linebackers. If it's offense, the offensive line. I mean, I think I like Zach Ertz and John Bates being back. I kind of feel like I'm not sure if we're sold on the rookie tight end we had last year.
No.
I feel like they that might have been their one miss. So if we can get another tight end, I'm not against it. I like Debo. Like I said, I still want to see with us losing De'Ami Brown. I'm not sure what Zacchaeus is going to do. I still think another receiver is very, very important for this team because one, I foresee Debo getting hurt. He's a physical runner.
Oh, he's
He's
definitely going to get hurt.
So he's going to be out a couple games. So who's going to come in and replace that? That's why I really wanted De'Ami Brown because I felt like he filled in really well just when he had to fill in. Like I don't see him as the number two receiver, but I see him as a really good step in and play option.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think receiver is a position we really need to continue to try to get, whether it's free agency. I know for sure we're going to get one in the draft, but I
Yeah,
would like to see us go for somebody else in free agency,
I'm just
receiving.
looking at the list right
That's what I'm talking
now
about. Free agents left.
for a wide receiver. I mean, we got
Yeah, it's not
Amari
a lot.
Cooper. We,
Stephon
no,
Diggs.
no. DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins, Keelan
Cooper
Allen.
Cup.
Actually, you know what? I would take a flyer on Cooper Cup. I
Okay.
would take a flyer on him, only because um, I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he's
I
pissed.
can see that. I can
I think
see
he's
that.
pissed. So I would
And
take
I
a
think he
flyer
could
on
kind
him.
of be like a Zach Ertz kind of role, like come
Yeah.
in, a vet that knows what he's doing. And when you put a player like that with Jaden Daniels, a player that immensely prepares, a player that's very serious about, getting in extra time with new guys. We saw when Noah Brown came last year, Jaden got with them right away. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think a player like Cooper could definitely come in with a chip on his shoulder and do pretty well for us. Whoever they bring in, I think is going to have a better year this year than they had last year. Whoever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
agree.
forward to big things.
I wouldn't mind Tyler Lockett either. I wouldn't mind
That's a
Tyler Lockett.
nice one. That's a
I
nice
wouldn't
one
mind
for
Tyler
sure.
Lockett.
I think I
Him,
saw.
Debo, and McLaurin. Yeah,
Ooh, that would be really good.
yeah,
I just saw they were meeting with Michael Gallup, the Cowboys receiver. You know this has been a sign who you know type of
hmm
free agency from last year to this year. Adam Peters kind of having his background with the 49ers. Dan Quinn, his background with the Cowboys and other teams. So I could see Michael Gallup kind of come in, replace, being that slot receiver,
yeah,
filling in a need right there. And that's kind of that committee by slot you were talking about a little bit last week, whether it's Debo, Michael Gallup, if Zacchaeus comes back. They should be really good in that position, but we still need a big body receiver. Pause. We
yeah,
still need
yeah.
somebody that can go up and just moss somebody. So again, I don't know if that's going to be draft, but uh, that's what
There's
I would
only
be looking for.
one there's only one wide receiver on this list that I'm looking at that can kind of fill that role, and that's Juju Smith Schuster. I,
Yeah, I'm
but
good on
I
him.
question his work ethic, man.
Yeah, I'm good on Juju. He's the
Yeah, that's the only
original
one I can
TikTok.
see kind of filling that role.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
I don't think free agent receiver is going to be the best, but I do think it's a position we just need to put bodies in.
yeah,
And I think again, I like the Cooper Cup suggestion. Um, I keep hearing people say Amari Cooper just had a bad year. I don't know if that was just him coming into the middle of the season with Josh Allen.
that's a
Uh,
possibility. It's a
yeah,
possibility, you know, and
because
and I don't know. Josh Allen was on a tear. He was on the MVP
he
campaign,
was
so
spreading the ball around.
exactly. He was like, "Look, I, I, I can't rely just on one person. I got to make it happen myself." So I put it to you this way: if they bring in Amari Cooper, I would not be mad at that because that would solidify a certified number two wide receiver position. I would just wonder if he has anything left in the tank, but let us know what you think, man, Brodies. If you again, needs to be following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Oh, hold on,
But
hold on.
yeah,
You didn't answer the question. Well, I guess you did. You said Super Bowl. You did say Super Bowl contender, right?
yeah, they're a Super Bowl
Super Bowl
contender,
roster for sure.
but they're not a Super Bowl roster, like
Okay,
officially. Like
okay, okay.
I got to see what they do, with the offensive line in order
You
to
still
build
want to
this
see a
into a
couple more moves before you answer definitively.
right now they're a contender. But
Okay,
if they bulk up on the front seven and on the offensive line, that's going to determine if they can be a Super Bowl roster. But
gotcha.
Landon Laramie Tunsil right now definitely has them trending in the right direction.
Got Laramie Tunsil. Josh Sweat is out of Philadelphia.
They
We
lost
look,
they lost Slade too,
yeah. So
who was a
just that
vet on
side
their
of the ball,
defense.
that's a
Watch out,
really
Philly.
big adjustment.
Watch out, man.
Hey, for real, for real.
But transitioning here into basketball, again, if you have been living under a rock,
Oh man.
you would know that the Brodies have been on the scene and they've been covering everything that's been going on with the NBA. But recently, the ratings and the viewership of the NBA has been based on things going off the court rather than on the court. And there's been a lot of back and forth on the platforms, especially on TikTok. It's a free for all
Dang.
right now. It's bonkers right now, and it's all because of what we've been discussing really for the past week and some change, and that's just been LeBron's antics. And after everything, with the All-Star game and with Stephen A. and just everything in between, the Brodies here are asking the basketball world one question, and that is Bron the bully now? Like, is he turning into a bully? Has the power gone to his head? Now, I know I said last week, I said he was a false prophet. He ain't gonna walk up on me like that because he don't know me. So
Hey,
I don't
nah,
have to
for real,
worry about it. So I can
for real.
talk all the shit I want. But but what I'm saying here is, I know I said I'm tired of talking about LeBron. What I meant was, I'm tired of the constant media coverage for the little things that he does rather than the actual stuff that he is supposed to be doing, which is playing on the court, right? So, again, if you've been living under a rock, LeBron and Stephen A. Smith have been going back and forth over some comments that Stephen A. Smith made about Bronny Jr.
All right,
And
let me jump in, Co, because
yeah,
that's like the big thing online is the comment. So let me kind of give a little quick synopsis of what Stephen A. Smith actually said.
okay,
So Stephen A. Smith, the part that LeBron, because LeBron just came out and was talking to Richard Jefferson about this, and it was like a hot mic. LeBron said he was really mad because Stephen A. Smith said, as a father. What Stephen A. Smith said was, as a father, LeBron, you need to stop this. Me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Stephen A. Smith said. However, I also don't think there's anything wrong with what LeBron said.
okay,
Because I do think when for what we're doing, Co, like one thing I don't want to do is talk about people's private life, in a way that's not serious. And how you raise your kids is kind of private. Now, Bronny is in the public. And this is where I think LeBron starts to lose the argument. Like I said, Stephen A. Smith said, as a father, I wouldn't do that. So to LeBron, that's questioning his fatherhood, his leadership.
mm-hmm.
I guess that's my first question to kind of throw it back to you. Pause.
Hey, yo,
Hey, yo.
Williams.
Yeah, that's
You
a
gotta
bad
stay
one.
professional.
Hey, I'm telling you. But to pass this question back to you, Co,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the specific statement of Stephen A. Smith saying, as a father, I wouldn't do that? Like, let's get to the meat of this argument before we kind of just get into the rest of it.
I mean, I get the personal aspect. No one wants to be told how to raise their children. That's like me saying, "Hey, Wiggs, you shouldn't be doing this with the fat boy,
Right.
and Ethan. Like, you need to be doing this." I don't
Mm.
have any children, so who am I to speak, right? But I guess from the mindset of it takes a village, it's kind of like, hey, look, I'm on the outside looking in, brother. And it wasn't like he was saying, "Hey, LeBron, you raised a thug, and he's out of control, and he's doing this, and he's detrimental to the community, and you need to be ashamed. You should be ashamed of it." But no, we're talking basketball here, and what he was saying was, you're coddling him from a development standpoint. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And he's like, as a father, I'm telling you that you're doing, like, he's basically saying, Bron, you're not looking at Bronny's development as a teammate or a player. You're looking at it as your
As a
a
father.
father,
Yeah,
because he's your
that's a
son.
great
And
point.
that's the problem with being in the league so damn long, that you end up playing with your son. It's an uncharted territory. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's saying, look, there's no reason why Bronny James should be basically starting in the NBA right now. He plays in the first quarter, and this dude averages 0.3 points.
Yeah.
Like, you're hurting the team, So it's like, I get it, man, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Braun has become so powerful that this,
Yeah.
like, the phrase, "you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain," that is what's happening with him right now. Because, like, the negative there's always been the Braun haters. I don't call myself a Braun hater.
Right.
I love LeBron. I think he's the third greatest basketball player of all time.
Oh
You
man,
know,
that's
he's on my
debatable.
Mount
That's
Rushmore.
debatable.
He's on
Right.
my Mount Rushmore. So I have respect for him. I like to joke about little things, but it's like, at the end of the day, bro, you have your son, you in the league where technically you can argue does he really deserve to be there? He hasn't really,
You can
earned his.
argue it.
You know what I'm saying? There's no merit behind his portfolio to warrant him being in the league.
He didn't average like 10 points in college or anything like that. Like his college stats were not representative of somebody. It reminds me a little bit of Shaq's son.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq's son had the heart issue as well. He
Mm-hmm.
was kind of a respected prospect when he went to college, but after he had the heart issue, it was kind of like, let's see what he can do. You know,
Yeah.
I think Shaq's son went to the G League or maybe went overseas. That's the kind of place that, again, Bronny stats in the G League. He's in the 20 points, so
Yeah.
he has some talent. He can play, but it's LeBron. You came out and said yourself, whatever team drafts Bronny, that's the team I'm playing for. You're using your power. So I
Yep.
think my thing with LeBron, and maybe you can piggyback on this, though. My thing with LeBron is he uses his power and then he tries to like go back to like, oh, but I'm like everybody else. No, you're not
Right.
like
No,
everybody
you're
else,
not,
LeBron.
man.
You cannot keep acting like you don't get why everybody's making a big fuss about it. It's the same thing with the flopping. I say it all the time. It's the fact that you're flopping, LeBron, that people have a problem with it because you're the face of the league. So if you do it, everybody else can do it. So, and again, this goes with parents. I think Kenyon Martin came out on Gil's Arena and said, or no, I'm sorry, not Kenyon Martin, DeMarcus Cousins. You
Mm-hmm.
know, DeMarcus Cousins was known for being a bully in the league and speaking his mind. And I don't have a problem with players speaking their mind, like Draymond. Like, Draymond's not my favorite player, but I like that Draymond speaks up for himself. I
Yeah.
like that Draymond. I'm not gonna say I like Draymond's podcast, but I like that players are now saying, "Let me tell my own story," because I would rather hear it from you than somebody else. So
Right.
whether you give it to the media first, or whether you say, you know what, I'll go on my podcast and tell people what actually happened. I like when people speak. One thing LeBron does is he won't really talk about it. He'll kind of do what he's done, and you won't hear anything else about it. And it's kind of like you said, like the bringing attention on himself. It's like LeBron, you're the story. I don't know.
I mean, I think
It's a lot. It's a lot.
it's a lot to break down, but like the bottom line is Stephen A. didn't say anything wrong. He didn't say
I don't think
anything
so.
wrong, and
So.
the sensitive is just one of those dudes that just like he is very sensitive. Like you could
And
just
he's the king. He's using
yeah
that power. He's
yeah
using
and
that. I'm the king. Don't talk about me.
yeah and like the way he handled it was extremely unprofessional. You've never seen Jordan, Kobe, or anybody really go up to a sports commentator and cuss him out
Courtside, courtside.
courtside and cuss him out. No,
Right. You
you know
might
what I'm
have heard
saying?
stories about him doing it behind in the arena somewhere else, but courtside, that's
Yeah,
that's
like,
different.
and he's doing that because he's like, what are y'all gonna do?
Mhm.
Because I feel like he said he can play till 45. Can you imagine another 5 years of this where he can basically start doing whatever he wants? And it's like, bruh, this is why I mean by the inmates are running the prison because it's like that shit like that don't happen in the NFL. Like it just
Yeah,
don't.
no, they're definitely not running. I don't want. I'll say this: I don't like the imagery of the inmates that are running the prison because I don't want white people to start calling our players inmates. But because again, we talk about how respected LeBron is, and again, I say this every week: we're nitpicking because he is so good. So the only thing we can talk about are the missteps because outside of this, his record is damn near flawless. But when he makes a mistake, he doesn't really own up to it. I think that's another part of it too. It's kind of like the decision. People talk to him about the decision. He's never really said, "Oh, I see what people are saying." The All Star thing in the dunk contest, he's never really said, "Oh, I see what people are saying." Even when
Yeah.
it comes to him saying he's the greatest, bro, it's Jordan. To me, it's Jordan, and the fact that Jordan came before you and you can't call him the greatest, it's kind of weird. Like to me, that's just kind of weird.
Especially when you're
For
wearing a man's number.
you, bro, you're wearing a man's number. He's the person you said base your game off of him and Magic. I think that's what people will call you is Magic mixed with Jordan. That's
Yeah.
what I would say is LeBron is Magic mixed with Jordan. So it's just kind of weird. And in my opinion, he is being a bully. Um, I'll get to Stephen A in a second, but as far as LeBron, I think LeBron is now again. I don't have a problem with it as a father. You're standing up for your own leadership. When somebody says, "Oh, as a father," or "You should do this as a father," I get it. You have the right to respond to that person and say, "No, don't criticize me," or this is how I want to handle my family. I understand that, but as a player and as a liaison for the league, this is not a good look for you
Not
to be
a good look
approaching
at
a
all.
journalist. Whether you like Stephen A. Smith or not, he's a journalist and a damn good one at that. He just signed a contract, 5 years, $100 million. Again, whether you
Shout
like him
out to
or
Stephen
not,
A. Smith.
shout out to Stephen A. Smith. Whether you like him or not, Stephen A. Smith is a damn good journalist. And I love that Stephen A. Smith um, talked about it the next day on First Take. He talked about it the next day on his own show. Like Stephen A. Smith does not run from the drama. He's
Nope.
here to entertain. He's gonna entertain. He's gonna talk about it. So let me switch the subject a little bit while we're talking about Stephen A. Smith. Co. I know you said earlier you don't think he did anything wrong. Do you think that? And we talked last week about LeBron's leadership and to whom his responsibility. Do you think Stephen A. Smith has more of a responsibility to talk about the game positively, to influence the topics, whether it's talking about the Celtics? The Celtics just beat the Lakers this weekend. Nobody's talking about it. Um, do you think Stephen A. Smith has more of a responsibility that maybe he's not leaning into?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say he has to take a little bit of accountability on his side too, because there's been plenty of takes and antics, especially his rant with Kyrie Irving during the
That was
pandemic.
bad. That was bad.
So like yeah, like he lost some cool points with me, with that and everything. So like he definitely him and Skip Bayless, they all
Yeah.
they
Skip is
have
in a
fun with it.
category of his own. Yeah.
Yeah, they have fun with it, but sometimes it feels like it could be a little bit personal. Like you have a personal like vendetta
I think it
against this
was the
person.
Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown hated Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A.
Yeah,
was just like you're you're above, like the bum of all bums. So
yeah, So it's like in the sports world, like the media is the heart of the sports world because
it is.
without the media, you don't have anything. So, but what you give the media to report about, whether it's good or bad, they are either going to decide whether they're going to report it or not, or or they're going to continue to emphasize it or not. We all know negativity, you know, it sells faster. So it's like he keeps giving people ammo when he does little shit like this. And the reason why I'm calling him a bully is Stephen A. Smith is like what,
Yeah.
5'11", a buck 80. You
No, he's
six
probably
eight.
6 feet. He's probably
Okay,
six
six
feet.
feet. All right,
But
fine.
still, 6 feet to
Give him a
six
couple
eight ain't
more
nothing.
inches. Pause.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, but he's like what, a buck 60 soaking wet. He's like
Uh,
60 years old.
yeah.
Like, dude, you 6'8", 250, 260, still brolic as a mug, and you walk up to him and walk, like you about to
The way you did it was very intimidating.
it was
Yeah.
very intimidating, and bruh, like he's lucky that Stephen A ain't petty and be like, hey, yo, that's assault. Because technically that's assault.
Just
And,
the
and
just the approach can
yeah,
be
and that
deemed as
one little decision could have destroyed his entire empire. So it's like, bro, you need to chill. Like your ego has gone to your head where you're doing stuff that it's like I said, like it's like he's in high school and he's just
yeah.
getting away with murder. And it's like,
What do
dude,
you
you gotta chill.
What do you think about KD? I saw KD kind of jump into the fracas this weekend. Skip Bayless was still kind of, Skip Bayless is a generational hater when it
Yeah,
comes to LeBron. Skip Bayless kind of basically said that KD was washed. this weekend, and Katie responded and said, "I guess we're both washed." So look, I like that Katie's responding, but I do kind of put Katie in that Wale category, just that sensitive category. These are players who make millions of dollars, and you're worried about what somebody's saying online. Like, I think if it was me, I would listen. I would be kind of like Jordan. You know,
Yeah.
Jordan would hear something, he would read something in the article, he would hear a fan say something. All right, now I'm gonna bust your team's ass. I
Yep.
don't need to respond to you. I'm gonna respond on the court. I'm gonna bust your team's ass. I'm gonna
Yep.
give them 40 or 50, and then I'm gonna find you after I bust your team's ass
Yep.
and see what you got to say now.
Yep. I'm not
That's
going
what
to
I would
create a
like to
burner
see.
account to respond to people. There's no need for that, bro. Like people are gonna talk their shit. I mean, that's just a part of sports. You know, it just is what it is.
Yeah,
But
it's trash talk. Trash talk is a part of the NBA. So
yeah,
commentators
now
can't trash talk. Barbershop talk is calling people trash and bitch
he
ass
has a
and shit
show
like that.
called The Barbershop. So I'm like, dude, like it's a part of sports. I'm like, you never talked trash before about about another player or like that. That's what comes with the territory. You're taking it personal because they're talking about your son. You ain't roll up on anybody else that's been talking about your son. Why Stephen A? Now another thing everybody's been emphasizing online is why are they only talking about Bronny and not all the other players that got drafted? They're doing just as
Because
bad.
nobody gives a fuck. Excuse my language. Bro,
Nobody give a
nobody
shit
gives
about
a
him.
fuck. Hey, for real.
We talking
That
about Bronny.
point blank.
And
And eventually Bronny's gonna have to come out and say something because again, as a man, you can't keep letting your dad stand up for you. Like
exactly, bro.
at
Like
some
this
point you
is
gotta
some
stand up for yourself.
this is coddling in its purest form.
It
Someone
really
talking
is.
about your son because he's averaging less than a point.
Less than
I
one
can
point.
I can average less than a point.
Bro, for real.
I can
Real
chuck up a
talk.
3 or 2, you know what I'm saying, and average point 0.3 points a game. I can have a rebound tip to me,
On
you know
my
what I'm
way.
saying? I can average point 0.7 rebounds.
Oh
Anybody
man.
can do that. But it's like my dude. And here's the thing. This
He's
is
a
one thing
part of
I
the
will
league
say.
now, which means he's fair game.
Fair game. And here's one thing I will say, Brian. If you ever scroll across this episode, I want you to have this as a consolation prize. This is one thing you do have over Jordan. Your son is better than his. Because we all know Jordan's son.
Hey, he's
Yeah,
he's dealing with a lot of stuff right now. You know what this
yeah.
actually just made me think of, Co? A good analogy is LeBron doing what Will Smith did to Chris Rock. When you go to a comedy
Oh,
show,
yeah.
everybody's fair game. When I said Chris Rock, yeah,
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Rock.
Rock.
When you go to a comedy show, everybody's fair game. Everybody knows the now infamous slap. Will Smith kind of responding to Chris Rock making a joke about Jada. Um, this feels similar to that.
Yeah,
Will Smith apologized, and like I said, I don't know that LeBron is going to take accountability for this and apologize because I feel like he thinks he's above it all. But I think this is very similar to that. Will Smith at the top of his game. Nobody can really say anything bad about Will except maybe the Jada Pinkett stuff. You know, I think the first stuff was the Red Table Talk. That's when it's kind of
yeah,
be like, yo, Will, what's
yeah,
going on with Jada? But the Chris Rock thing, when Will slapped him, it was kind of like, all right, Will, you taking your power a little too far. Like, you just slapped this man on national TV in front of everybody.
yeah,
This man has a family to go back to, and you just embarrass him. It's the same thing with LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. Like I said, whether you like Stephen A. Smith or not, to do that in front of everybody is either. I think somebody said he practiced what he was going to say before he in the mirror before he talked to Stephen A. Smith. Like that's premeditated. You thought about what you were going to
yeah,
do and then did it knowing how it would look. LeBron, you are so good with the media. You knew that would be a story, which means you had to do it on purpose or at least intentionally.
yeah,
So it to me it is he's the king that's a bully because he is a king, but sometimes we're seeing what Trump is doing in DC right now. Not to get political, pulling up the Black Lives Matter. He said, get that shit out of here." Y'all put that
Bully,
up at a time when I was done. I'm back in charge now. Get
bully.
that shit out of here. So
I mean, and that's what happens when you have someone with an ego in power. I mean, Jordan even said it. He said LeBron has an ego issue,
for
and
sure,
I mean, and I can't blame him for having one because it's like,
because you're the greatest. Like that's what it
yeah,
takes
you
to
know what I'm
be
saying?
that.
Like
Yeah,
you basically were anointed the king of basketball before you even stepped foot on NBA hardwood, and
hey, the hardwood.
you know what I'm saying? But it's like, and you have, and he's delivered. I mean,
Delivered.
you can talk about the finals losses. You can talk about, I mean, any I guess like accolade that can counteract the accolades that everybody's slurping. You know what I'm saying? The bottom line is the dude is delivered. So
Yeah.
I'll never take that from him. That's why he's top three for me. But at the end of the day, his antics, man, that's what I'm starting to not like. And it
Yeah.
started from an early age because he was just praised so early, and that just comes with the territory. I can see if he like came in and ended up being like Kwame Brown and was a bust and still acting like a BAN. Then I'm like, come on
Hmm.
now, man. But it's like his BANness is justified.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's something as small as just the flopping that you just look at and it's like, yo, LeBron, you don't have to do that.
You
Like
don't have
you don't have to do that, my guy.
you don't have to do all that, man. It's like,
You don't.
did you see that last flop he did with Jason
Right.
Tatum? Bruh, he didn't even touch him.
Right. You don't have to do all that,
And
LeBron.
then what makes it even worse is that the theatrics after
He had to
it,
take a
he's
knee,
like
like
in pain, like he swallowed a fish bone.
I'm telling you, man.
And he's rolling on the ground and squinting his eyes like and acting like he's bleeding and checking
Bro,
to see if
he
he's
does that during
bleeding.
a lot. He does this a lot,
Yeah, and
like he
then
can't
5 seconds
see.
later he's jumping from the free throw line on the bad
I'm
leg he
telling you.
called out sick on.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
It's
So
so
I mean,
funny, man.
we saw it before the Luka Doncic trade. I think LeBron he was good, but he wasn't what he is now. Now he's player of the month. Player of the month, 20 years apart. Just shows you how good he's been for how long. But you're in a professional league, a league that gets criticized, a league that gets praised, and this is what we do. Like social media is not going anywhere. Podcasts aren't going anywhere. Like anybody else that's coming up after LeBron. And I saw Ryan Clark say this. Shout out to Ryan Clark and the stuff that he's been doing on air. But he said when his son saw the news, his son plays for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
When his son saw the news, he was like, "Dad, I hope you never do that. Like, I'm my own man. Let me, be a man." I
Yeah,
remember my mom yelling at games when I was just playing in little league sports, and I'm like, "Yo, ma, chill." Like,
yeah, yeah.
if somebody pushes me on the court, ma, chill. I got it. Like, even as a young man, let me handle myself. Let me take care of myself. It's just something that you got to learn. Again, I would love to hear what Bronny has to say because now he's being forced or pushed even more into the limelight with all of this. LeBron, you can't keep.
You can't keep
You're not
affecting them.
one. You're not going to be in the league forever. So if he stays with on the team as long as you do, all right, cool. But then at one point you're going to be gone. Are you going to come to the arenas to fight for Bronny? Like,
Right.
are you going to do this for Bryce
Are you gonna
too?
be in the locker room talking smack to the coach because
Yeah.
he benched him because he went 1 for 16?
I'm telling you, we'll see what Deion Sanders does with Shador.
Yeah.
After Shador has a year in the league, is Deion going to say, "I'm not letting nobody coach my son"? Because we see how they're talking about him. But you gotta love, and I'll end it on this. You gotta love how Shador's been handling himself. His dad was in the league. Shador's not even in the league yet, but he's just confidence. And
That's
I
the
don't care what
difference.
anybody
That's the
it's
difference.
all confidence. I don't care what you say about me. I know who I am. I know what
I'm
my tape
him.
says. I'm him. Whether you feel it or not, I feel it. My dad told me I was him, so I can speak for myself. Bronny
Yep.
should be saying the same thing.
The same exact thing. He's
Because
at
my
the
dad is
age
who
now
he
where
is, I can speak for myself.
yep. You're like, no, pops. Like, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for everything that you've been doing for me. But like, nah, he's talking about me. Matter of
Let
fact,
me say it.
while instead of you running up on him, let's hit this gym. Let's do some film study. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Matter of
Right.
fact, stop calling me up to play with you. Let me stay in the G League and play with my teammates, develop
Exactly.
my skills, and then next year, we'll talk. So yeah, man,
You know,
I
a little bit
definitely
of it is insecurity too, Cole, because it's kind of like Dion with Shador. I think even Dion knows I don't have to say anything anymore. He has tape out there. I think LeBron is a little insecure with it because he's kind of like
he knows.
he
He
knows, and I think that's
knows.
where Stephen A. To go back to the original point, that's where Stephen A. Smith was coming from. We
He's
all
like,
can see
yo,
with our
you're not
eyes, like
helping his mental development.
you're getting in the way. You're what are those parents? The helicopter parent. You're being a helicopter parent right now. Back off. Let him do his own thing. Let him be his own man. And if he's in the G League, we're not covering him because we're not covering the G League like that. But if he's in the G League and moving up when he doesn't need to be moving up,
Mm-hmm.
now we got to talk about it. Now it's the
For
story for
home
us to talk
games
about.
only.
Or, yeah, he's got special contracts that nobody else has.
Right.
Come on, Brian. You gotta
What,
you
what
gotta
G
see it.
League what G League player making 8 million?
So yeah,
So
that's my thing.
yeah, and that's just basically the gist of it. It's something that Bronny's taking advantage of. It's something that Bron is taking advantage of. I'm all for it because I love seeing a black man pave the way for it for his son.
Nepotism, right? We
So
can
I
do it
have
too.
no issues with that. The only thing that as a man, in the village, is like, yo, stop coddling him, man. We got enough. We got enough of that already in the community. Stop coddling him. Let him be a man. Let him shut the haters up by improving his game, and we'll see where it happens next year. But definitely appreciate the love out there, Brodies. Let us know what you think. You need to be following us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're approaching 500,000 views. Next week we'll pick up where we
Are we gonna
left
have
off
any?
with our. You know
Are we
what?
gonna have any special guests next week, Co? I know we got some people trying to get on the show.
I'm seeing. I'm gonna see because I'm a name drop. Tony Broadnex. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? What's up, my dude? Shout out to my main man Tony Broadnex, my
Hey,
main man
my
Leon
man
Cook,
was talking wild in the comment section, man.
Maurice Bateman, all my brothers out there. But the Bama's on TikTok. Nah, that's
Yeah, no, they're
they
not
they're
getting on.
like. I told them I was like, if y'all want to come on this journey and debate us, one, you gotta like and subscribe, and you gotta donate some stars.
Listen,
Because you ain't getting
Kevin
no free
Samuels
publicity off me.
Kevin Samuels used to say the same thing. Before you come on my show, watch the show. Don't
Yeah.
just come on my show asking questions and talking crazy. Did you
Yep.
watch the show? Because I talked about half the stuff you're gonna ask me before you even ask me. Go watch the show first. So
Exactly.
yeah, bro, we got the best analysis in the building. You can already see the Commanders taking some of our advice. Bronny, take some of our advice. Stand up for yourself. Even though Dad is trying to and listen, my mom is the same way. She always wants to step in. Sometimes you
Yep.
just gotta say, "Listen, take a
I
step back.
got
I got
this.
this.
I got this.
Nothing wrong
So
with that."
that's our show for today, y'all. Definitely appreciate the love. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Click on the bottom right hand corner and like and subscribe. Share your love. But until then, it's the Lord Head Co-War, my main man Jay Wiggs. We'll see you next week, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.